The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Friday, the 4th day of April 2025. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamel Hartman, and Teo Dill will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in the news break brought to you by People's. How's everyone feeling today? Happy Friday. Everyone good? It's the end of the traditional work week. I know it's Sherry's favorite day of the week, by the way. Yeah, it's Sherry's favorite day of the week. So we're saying a happy Friday to Sherry and some of you others. It's some of your favorite day of the week as well. Suzanne's excited. She says, awesome fun Friday, Jamel and Teo. It's finally Friday. But Suzanne, finally Friday. That means you're not going to see us for a few days. Are you good with that? You happy? I mean, you don't want to see us? You know, I'll miss you. I'll certainly miss you. But no, it is Friday, and to everyone, happy Friday to you today. And just want to say greetings and to everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. We do have a very good one for you today as we welcome the CEO of Bermuda Press Holdings, which is the parent company of the Royal Gazette. Jonathan Howell's on the show. We're going to be discussing the state of traditional media and journalism. So always a good conversation with Jonathan. If you don't know Mr. Howells, it's a good time, I tell you. So looking forward to it. Get ready to engage in the daily play. We're going to have a things you should know, folks. And don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right. Well, it is also Friday Family. I'm saying Friday Family. I saw Kenton Trotz comment. It says it's Friday Family, and that's what I repeated. But it's Friday Fun Day. It's Friday Fun Day. So Friday Fun Day, if this is your first time tuning in, Friday Fun Day is brought to you by our good friends at Mailboxes. So we have a Friday Fun Day conversation, but I'm just going to share a quick message because it still is the daily discussion brought to you by our friends at Titan Express and Secure Trucking.
The daily discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Visit TitanEXBDA.com, your leading tour and transport provider specializing in Black History tours throughout the island. And SecureBDA.com for all your property management, waste management, residential, and commercial trucking needs. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is our commitment to you.
Alrighty. Thanks again to Titan and Secure. Folks, do us a favor. We're going to do something different this morning. If you're just tuning in, you see me big on the screen today. Hopefully you're okay with seeing more of me today. But it's Friday Fun Day. And we talked yesterday about the tariffs. And a lot of conversation has happened about the tariffs and the shipping to Bermuda and the like. So for this Friday Fun Day, we're going to try to have fun with it. Question of the morning is, you know you're Bermudian if you're more likely to purchase what in Bermuda versus overseas. You know you're Bermudian if you're more likely to purchase what in Bermuda versus overseas. What's something that you are more likely to purchase in Bermuda than overseas? That's it. But also, here's another one. And this could be large in size or price. What's the largest purchase you've ever shipped to Bermuda? Like the largest purchase you've ever shipped to Bermuda. What is it? The largest purchase. What's something, again, that you all are having fun with this already today. We've got, can't share it on the screen, but Jonathan says, Bermuda onions. Yeah, I don't know if he means the people or the actual onion, right? You know you're Bermudian if you are more likely to purchase what in Bermuda versus overseas? Popcorn. Yeah, I don't see anyone shipping popcorn in, right? Well, the seeds, the people who make them, but yeah, popcorn. And you have so many different brands. You've got Dukes, you've got Sammy's, you've got Glam, Pop, you've got the Dills that sells at People's Pharmacy. So yeah, popcorn. Another thing, Karen Simmons says hot cross buns. Yeah, you know what? A few years ago when I was living in Florida, I went to a Whole Foods and they had hot cross buns, but instead of raisins, they had, you know, what's that fruit stuff you put in fruitcake, that stuff? That's what it had in it. I was a bit like, I don't think this is how we make them in Bermuda, but yeah, it's something we're not going to ship in. We're not going to purchase hot cross buns outside Bermuda. What else, audience? Keep it coming. Keep it coming. You know you're Bermudian if you're more likely to purchase what in Bermuda versus overseas. Well, this is a given. Fish. Fish. Yeah. I know Bermudians when we were in college who would actually take fish back with them, but I've never known Bermudians to bring fish to Bermuda, like to make. All right. Hadley and Swan said codfish and potatoes. Okay. All right. All right. Oh, ooh, Sherry Vanderpool says beef or chicken pie. It's all food. Like outside of food, you all don't have anything else? Mixed peel. Yes, that's it. That's what they made the hot cross buns with at Whole Foods. Mixed peel. Disgusting. We've got a lot mixed. Yes, exactly. It was gross. Like, yeah, it was the last time I got hot cross buns at Whole Foods. Fish, says Sherilyn Johnson. And I agree, Sherry. She says the pot pie stuff just doesn't cut it. Yeah. Cassava, says Charles H. Jefferson II. All right, I'm going to give you something that's not food. You know you're Bermudian if you're more likely to purchase what versus overseas in Bermuda? How about your vehicle? How about like your car? How many people are really going to purchase their car overseas then ship it in? So you know you're Bermudian if you purchase your car in Bermuda, right? I probably know one person who's purchased something overseas and shipped it to Bermuda. One person. So a car. What else? Anything else? Obviously, you all are more likely to shop, buy like clothing and underwear overseas, right? I mean, that just makes sense. Levette Pemberton says household appliances, more likely to purchase household appliances in Bermuda versus overseas. Okay. Yes. This is I don't even remember if I told you, but this is Friday Fun Day, brought to you by our friends at Mailboxes. You can get 2 years of free membership at Mailboxes by visiting mailboxes.bm/the Daily Hour. So appreciate Mailboxes, the partnership that we have with them. And folks, hey, as Bryson, the CEO of Mailboxes, said a few weeks ago, the tariffs, they're there, but there's ways that they can ease your concerns regarding it. So I don't know what to tell you, but we're going to have some fun with it this morning. And if you're just tuning in, make sure you give us a like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We're asking you, it's Friday Fun Day. You know you're Bermudian if you're more likely to purchase what in Bermuda versus overseas, but also what's the largest purchase you've ever shipped to Bermuda? I don't want to tell anybody's business or nothing, but I know certain family member recently who shipped a bedroom set to Bermuda. Yeah. And a refrigerator recently as well. So I'm not calling any names, Diddy. Kelly Hunt says tissue paper to make your kite. Yes, that is definitely something Bermudians purchase in Bermuda. And kite sticks, right? Kite sticks. They are called kite sticks, right? Like, I think I'm remembering correctly. This is a good one, Jonathan. Ginger beer. You're more likely Bermudians are more likely to purchase ginger beer in Bermuda versus overseas. Come on, what else, folks? What else? I said car, we've got fish, we've got beef or chicken pie, we've got onion, Bermuda onion, we've got ginger beer. What else? What else are we more likely to purchase in Bermuda versus overseas? What else? We've got Charles H. Jeffers II. He says, I know several people who have purchased cars overseas and had them shipped. I was surprised. Yeah, I know quite a few people, but I mean, Bermudians as a whole are more likely to purchase the cars in Bermuda, right? I'm surprised I said car and no one said bike. I mean, I don't know anyone who has shipped a bike in, or anyone know anyone who shipped a bike in? Bike makes sense. Datol, is that a British thing, Datol? I've never seen it in the US. Is it a British thing, folks? Let us know if it's a British thing. Suzanne Ingham says, oh, Bermuda fruitcake. Mixed peel doesn't taste good in hot cross buns. Raisins only, mate. Icing to top. My Skechers sneakers, I get them here. See, someone who gets retail in Bermuda. My veggies, I get local. Largest item shipped was my son's big toolbox for work. Okay, all right. Nicole Walker says she shipped in a fridge, stove, and TV. Oh boy, those hardware stores are looking at you crazy right now. They're looking at you crazy. So I got a question. Was it cheaper, like in terms of like everything included, duty, taxes, and the shipping, and obviously the cost? Was it cheaper to ship those big items to Bermuda than it was to purchase it in Bermuda? I'm very interested to know that. We've got Renee Simmons says, yes, the UK. That's where Dad was from. Okay, cool. That makes sense. What else, audience? You know you're Bermudian if you're more likely to purchase what in Bermuda versus overseas. Tanya Cheeseman says fruit. Yeah. I don't even think it's illegal to bring fruit in Bermuda if you're not like a grocery store wholesaler, right? Like you can't just, if you're traveling to Bermuda, you can't bring a fruit basket to Bermuda on an airline. I think that's illegal because they actually, on the thing, because of bugs and stuff, like, right? Am I understanding this? You know you're Bermudian if you're more likely to purchase what in Bermuda versus overseas. Charles H. Jeffers II says Cadbury chocolates. Okay. Those are British, I know that. I was actually in the grocery store yesterday and I saw this Easter stuff out yesterday. And I was like, well, where's the Cadbury? And I have to remember where I am. Yeah, it's not a good time for those who are trying to get the diets together and they put all this chocolate and stuff in front of you in the name of the bunny. Nicole Walker says, yes, it was a good savings. She said she shipped a fridge, stove, and TV to Bermuda, and it was a good savings. All right. Sherry Vanderpool says you can find Dettol in the Caribbean stores out in Atlanta. Okay. Jamal hasn't ventured into a Caribbean store yet. Karen Simmons says, all my kitchen and bathroom appliances shipped from overseas. Interesting. I'm interested to, so I wonder what will change now with the Trump tariffs with that. It's Friday Fun Day, audience, brought to you by our friends at Mailboxes. You can get 2 years of free membership from Mailboxes. Just go to mailboxes.bm/thedailyhour. We're asking you, you know you're Bermudian if you're more likely to purchase what in Bermuda versus overseas. What do the majority of Bermudians purchase in Bermuda versus overseas? And what's the largest purchase you've ever shipped to Bermuda? We've got Pear Kid over on Instagram says shark oil. Shark oil. Yeah. I don't think I've ever heard shark oil outside of Bermuda. Not saying it's not, but I've never heard anyone, mainly because I don't live in zones where they probably use it either. Suzanne Ingham says in 2018, it was much cheaper to ship my son's toolbox in than it is now. And definitely with the tariffs coming, yep, much cheaper. Sherry Vanderpool says also, I don't think it's always cheaper to bring in stuff, but having more variety is also a big part as well. Yes, that makes sense. Having a variety. What else, audience? What else? Come on, you've got some. You've got some stuff. What are you more likely to, if you know you're Bermudian, if you're more likely to purchase what in Bermuda versus overseas? With all these small business like entrepreneurs and vendors, I'm going to ask the latest. Is it more likely for you to purchase like skincare stuff now in Bermuda, because you've got like Anzuri, you've got Dove and Butterfly, you've got she was on recently, she's a popular one, man, Simons is her name, I believe, but you get me. Is that something people are more likely to purchase in Bermuda? We've got Sean Smith says the largest item was a 3 meter, about 10 feet awning. Okay, that is shit. What else, audience? You know you're Bermudian if you more likely to purchase what in Bermuda versus overseas? Tanya Cheeseman says perfume cologne. Okay. Renee Simmons said I purchased fridge, stove, and 65-inch TV from New Jersey, and it was way cheaper. Okay. We've got Charles H. Jeffers II. He says my daughter learned that you can bring fruit, but it will be confiscated for testing and then released if there are no bugs. Okay. Well, I don't want my fruit confiscated. I don't know. So I'd don't take it from me. Sean Smith says my wedding outfit. Okay, so more people are like Bermudians are more likely to purchase like wedding stuff in Bermuda versus overseas. Do Bermudian, like I thought the ladies usually go to New York, and there's some store in New York people go to where they test out what they're called wedding dresses, like not test them but fit. You know what I mean? They try them on. Yeah. Gee, making it all difficult for me. You know, my vocabulary is not as great as yours. Yes, Sade Milan, Ashley Simons, that's the other one. So Dove and Butterfly, I was saying, and Zuri, Sade Milan. These are some of the local brands. So are people more likely to purchase skincare products in Bermuda? Is that something that is normal? What else, audience? You know you're a Bermudian if you're more likely to purchase what in Bermuda versus overseas, and what's the largest purchase you've ever shipped to Bermuda? Remember that time Teo told us that someone asked him to bring a mattress to Bermuda? Remember that? That's probably the most insane thing. I say this respectfully. I try not to ask people to do me favors. Like even when I come to Bermuda, it's like people be like, "Oh, can you bring me this? Can you bring me that?" Folks, I bring a hell of a lot of equipment with me. I don't really have space. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, it costs money for an over the top bag, and you ain't never talking about that damn duty. You don't want to throw in $1 or $2. My whole thing in life, and I attribute it to this. I don't mind doing people favors, but I just know how I am. I don't really like people asking people to go out of their way for me, right? That's just the way I think. Like if I know that I don't need something necessarily, if it's material, then I try not to ask people. But if it's something that maybe for work, I may say, hey, can you take this to Bermuda? This is some equipment we need on it. I may do something like that if they're able. And if they're not, I'm okay with that, because then you just go the other option, you ship it. But a mattress, man, only Teo would be asked such a thing. All right, audience, what else? You know you're Bermudian if you're more likely to purchase what in Bermuda versus overseas. Mark Arthur C. Phillips says, my largest purchase overseas was an oven. Okay. Hopefully you saved some money on that. Folks, this was your Friday Fun Day and Daily Discussion brought to you by our friends at Mailboxes. You can visit mailboxes.bm/the Daily Hour to get 2 years of free membership if you're one of those shippers that loves to bring things into Bermuda. Thanks again to Titan Express and Secure Trucking for support of the Daily Discussion. We've got Teodoro coming up with the Daily Hour News Break and a really good guest about media today. Jonathan Howes, the CEO of Bermuda Press Holdings, which is the parent company of the Royal Gazette.
The Daily Discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Visit TitanEXBDA.com, your leading tour and transport provider specializing in Black History tours throughout the island. And SecureBDA.com for all your property management, waste management, residential, and commercial trucking needs. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is our commitment to you.
I just Sherry says I definitely asked you to bring me back stuff back from Bermuda. Well, you don't count, Sherry, because you're going to be watching bingo for me. By the way, folks, I didn't share it publicly. I told my dad, and he was laughing. You didn't say that on the show because I have people like Teo and Maya who like to judge me. That's why I didn't say it. But yes, my plant is named Bingo, and Sherry is going to be plant sitting Bingo while I'm overseas. So anyway, let's bring Teo in, and he better not say anything about Bingo when he comes on. Charles H. Jefferson II, he says, a Royal Gazette. I know people who still buy a newspaper daily. Yeah, that's something we're only going to purchase in Bermuda. All right, let's bring Teo Dill in for the Daily Hour news break. He better not say nothing about bingo.
Morning, man.
What are you laughing?
Bingo for real. Yo, I was about to be really upset with you because I was drinking my water as you were describing the name of your new plant, and I nearly spit it out all over my mic and everything. Like, bingo? Really?
Yeah. What's wrong with naming my plant bingo?
No, I just figured it out. You cannot help yourself from projecting your age out into the world. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not a young man anymore. Haven't been for a little while. And apparently you want to make sure everybody else knows this. Right?
So bingo is an old name tag?
No, bingo is a word that tends to show up in the minds of older people than younger people.
Oh.
Not just because of the nursery rhyme, but also because of that game where they can make a little money.
Well, maybe it was my niece, because all she does is sing. I took a picture of her. She had a mic. You know, she just turned 2 and she's always singing the row, row, row your boat and EINGO and all that stuff, bingo. And that's maybe where my niece named my plant bingo.
Okay. But it's a big disparity, right? Like people think about bingo are typically under the age of 4 or above the age of, I mean, typically like 62. Now,
so you say
not there yet. Well, I wasn't going to say it, but that's how I felt. You know, I wasn't going to tell you.
So you know what? You take too much pleasure in being entertained by me, and I'm not here to entertain you. You don't pay me to be entertained.
No, you sound like Joe Pesci from what was the one with Ray Liotta? I'm like, I amuse you? Am I clown to you? I'm funny? Funny how? What movie was that? Somebody in the audience knows. You've seen it before, man. It's one of them ones, like the great mob movies of the 20th century.
You know full well I don't watch no damn movies.
That is true. That's another problem.
Anyway, I'll let Bingo know that you're sorry for laughing at him because he's making a comeback. I mean, I forgot to water him again this week, but he's making a comeback. What?
Bro,
yeah,
you like this plan?
Yes.
You sure? Because you don't treat it like you treat the things that you like.
Tay, I'm gonna take care of Bingo. You know, I'm gonna take care of him today before I head to the airport.
Mm-hmm.
Goodfellas was the movie, says Jonathan.
Right? Yes, Goodfellas. Thank you, brother. Yeah, you sound like Joe Pesci in Goodfellas.
Get on with the news. Enough about Bingo, you loser.
Wow, more ridiculous things that will start off in a healthy space for us, at least. That is to say, Trump's new 10% tariff on goods exported from Bermuda to the U.S. shouldn't do us any real economic harm because we don't export too much of anything really to the States. This from the government in an official statement, which is a pretty unsurprising response to this. Equally unsurprisingly, our government also said the thing that we all need to worry about, what you were talking about yesterday and we've been talking about for weeks, is the impact of the tariffs on the 100+ other countries that will hit global supply chains, making almost everything more expensive for almost everybody. Premier David Burt underlined the Bermuda-U.S. relationship, his recent visit to D.C. to advocate on our behalf, and meeting with our new U.S. Consul General, Antoinette Hurtado, to try and, make sure that they keep us in mind when they're making these decisions. That said, Trump's hit basically every country on the planet with these tariffs, so it's hard to imagine we can negotiate any meaningful exemptions. The only one major country that's been left off that list is, do you know?
What, Russia?
There you go.
Seriously?
Yes.
Really?
Yup. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's Russia. Now, the most immediately interesting thing about these tariffs that we found out doing a little research over the past couple hours are the numbers. That is to say, how they work and how the White House justified them. Basically, an economist on Twitter, which is a really sweet detail that this came out on Twitter, figured out that it looked like, despite Trump saying the country by country rates are reciprocal, drawn from pre-existing tariffs on U.S. made goods, currency manipulation, trade barriers, etc. This economist found out that all the numbers basically map on to taking the U.S. trade deficit and dividing it by total imports from the different countries. That's it. That's all they did. Now, Trump's team responded saying, no, that would be ridiculous, and published a complicated looking formula that was supposed to be the basis for these numbers. But if you break down the numbers in the complicated looking formula, it still comes down to taking the U.S. trade deficit and dividing it by total imports, which has been described by economists and experts the world over as a completely arbitrary, ridiculous way of determining this type of number. What makes it even worse, you're not going to believe this, is that it's starting to look like his team not only didn't do any real work to get these numbers, they asked AI to do it for them. Again, a bunch of folks on Twitter, which is wonderful, realized that if you ask ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and Grok, which is Elon's AI, for an easy way to solve trade deficits and put the U.S. on an even playing field, they'll tell you to do it in exactly the way Trump's crew have done it. Same language, same system, same format. The Verge tested this, asking chatbots for a, quote, easy way for the U.S. to calculate tariffs that should be imposed on other countries to balance bilateral trade deficits between the U.S. and each of its trading partners with the goal of driving bilateral trade deficits to zero. All four of the leading AI services spit out the same fundamental suggestion, structure, architecture, etc. So they genuinely might not have done any work at all. They just pulled out ChatGPT. Hey, I need to balance U.S. trade. What should I do? Cool. Then that's what we'll do. Like, that is staggering. Like the most powerful country on the planet with more staff and access to resources and expertise than any other organization in the history of our species is so lazy that this is how they came to such a world moving conclusion. So all in all, it's looking like the kind of mess that could hamstring the world economy very similarly to the COVID pandemic. Like, things are likely to get bad for us, for them, for everybody, except in this case, unlike the COVID pandemic, which is just one of those things, once in a century type event, it's because one U.S. president has bad ideas about tariffs and their impact. This is especially ironic coming from an American leader, since tariffs, that is unilaterally making it more expensive to do business with foreign markets. It's the reason that the United States exists in the first place.
On December 16, 1773, 342 chests of tea on board 3 merchant ships of the British East India Company were thrown into the sea by the Sons of Liberty. It was a protest against the British government's tea taxation, which forced America, then a colony of Britain, to pay import taxes on the tea they never agreed to. The colonists viewed them as unjust. The harsh response from the British government inflamed the resistance, setting the stage for the American Revolutionary War.
Tariffs led to the Revolutionary War.
So what do you think his end game is here, Teo?
Okay. At this stage, I genuinely think his end game is to stop, in his view, the world from ripping America off, because he sees a trade deficit, which is to say for Vietnam, right? Like, they sell more stuff to the U.S. than they purchase from the U.S. And he sees that and thinks like, well, that's not fair. They're making money off of me and I'm not getting enough back from them. And he just he thinks that fixing that imbalance is a matter of like justice. Without realizing that America is the biggest and most active, dominant consumer market on the planet.
Well, Dave Chappelle, I shared a bit on my WhatsApp status. Dave Chappelle said it, and he's like, Trump doesn't understand that if you want iPhones to be made in the U.S., then they're going to cost like $9,000. Obviously exaggerating. He's like, furthermore, Americans like to wear Nikes. They don't want to make Nike, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Chappelle obviously made it sound much funnier. I mean, I'm a comedian, but I'm not on his level. But my point is it's almost coming across where either he doesn't understand it or he understands it to a point where he knows his people are going to suffer, but this is payback for something. I don't know. And then all those that what you were showing earlier, all those symbols and so on, I guarantee if you asked the majority of the people involved in that to explain what that meant, they probably wouldn't be able to tell you.
Of course not. And crucially, the reason they released it in the way that they did when they did was so that the people that support them publicly, like on social media, had something they could point to that they knew their audience would not be able to understand, but would trust them. Right. So they can say, look, and then you can say to other people that's criticizing it, you don't even know what it means. Right. But if you don't know what it means and you're saying it makes sense, like how? Right. But luckily, people smart enough, and it's really not that complicated. Like if I could probably post it in the chat, like the breakdown of what is what represented by those symbols, it ain't complicated. And baked into the equation, they have two pieces that cancel themselves out. Like a completely redundant component of the equation. Like what mathematician would do that? Right? They asked AI. They didn't think this through at all. Oh, good Lord. Sorry, it's been stressing me out for the past couple hours. But I did find one potential benefit from all this stuff, the tariffs and etc. for us here in Bermuda and our Caribbean cousins to the south that you might not have considered. According to travelandtourworld.com, a global travel website, Trump's ongoing beef with Canada, like the tariffs, calling the former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau governor because Trump thinks Canada should be the 51st state, saying that Canada's a nasty country to deal with, et cetera, et cetera. Canadians are basically dealing less and less and less with the U.S., including flying there, which means they're more likely to travel to other places, including Bermuda. Reportedly, Canadians have decided that they're not interested in going to a place they're not valued or respected and are choosing to spend their tourism dollars on other alternatives where they feel more welcomed and appreciated. So Canadians are looking for somewhere else to go. And this is not just like from news stories. Like there's been research done on this. And the relationship between Canada and the U.S. is like in a worse place than it's been in more than a century.
I'd like to see if Canada and Mexico can do some partnerships. And I think it right now is an opportunity for the world to respond in a way that they can work together without. But I'm interested in seeing what that looks like and how it can be done. What else you got, Tavi? You got a guest coming up.
Yeah, one short thing. In other local economic news is likely to be hit by all that stuff we just talked about. Bermuda's new national cost of living feedback site is live. I checked it out this morning, along with the public survey into the economic pressures residents are trying to manage. As you recall, Home Affairs Minister Alexa Lightbourne told us these tools were coming in the past week, saying responses will directly inform policy development and the government's approach to addressing cost drivers like food prices, energy costs, housing affordability, etc. The site's at costofliving.gov.bm, and as you can see, this is what it looks like. This is how it works. And hopefully everybody participates. You got till the end of the month to complete the survey. The more feedback they get, the better informed they're going to be about what they're going to do. So if you can participate, I just think it's a good idea to do it.
Yeah, check that out, folks.
Yeah, costofliving.gov.bm. Now, weather-wise, the next 3 days of weather should remain pretty complicated. Bright, clear skies, comfortable breeze, calm seas, all due to steady high pressure hanging around in our airspace. Now, the weekend might be bookended by early morning or late night showers, but nothing significant while you're out and about. So you can leave the umbrella in the car for the next little while.
All right. Thanks so much, Tay. Today is got a few. It's walk to work day, which I do every day, right? From the bedroom to the studio. It's International Carrot Day. Yeah. But it's also Tell a Lie Day. I want to ask the audience and Teo, what is the biggest lie you've ever told?
Wait, you want me to say it?
Yeah, the audience wants to know. Don't, if you get arrested, we'll send you some money for the cigarettes while you're in prison.
Okay, I'll share the biggest lie I've ever told in the context of this program. I don't know if you even remember this, but this was a while ago, which I think underscores why I'm hesitant to share this. Like you asked me about your hairline, like how it was looking. Like, was it moving it back as quickly as you?
I asked you that.
And I was like, yeah, no, man, you good. No, man, you look, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's not going anywhere. It's good. And I think you believe me, I think.
I ain't asked nobody about no damn hairline. I don't give a crap about my hairline. He's such an idiot. This guy is so he doesn't want to go to prison, folks. That's why he's not going to tell you. Because I ain't telling you my greatest lie. I'm not telling you. Look, I give you enough about me, but I'm not going to join Teo in cell block B12 or whatever they're called. I'm not joining them. All right. All right. I told a lot of lies when I was young about food. Like Nana will make, Nana used to make those sugar cookies, right? And she used to make stuff for people, and it wasn't just a cookie missing. If I was around, she put them in bags, and a couple of bags might be missing. Oh, I didn't do that. To this day, I mean, maybe I can admit to Nana now that I kind of did, but
bro, she always knew. She always knew.
Okay. Yeah, but I still feel like a liar.
I feel like those don't really count.
They
like,
don't.
When you're small, trying to get away with things like eating snacks that your Nana made for you. I mean, you're kind of supposed to,
You're saying small. I mean, we're talking early 20s and stuff too. But anyway, hey, you have a great weekend, man. You have a great weekend. We got Jonathan coming up. I'll see you soon.
All right, peace, bro. Take care, man. Thank you.
Tail deal, folks. If you've appreciated the conversation so far, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. We're going to take a quick break. Got a conversation coming up with Jonathan House. This is CEO of Bermuda Press Holdings, parent company of the Royal Gazette. We'll be back in 3 minutes, 22 seconds. Stick with us.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Hi there, welcome to Medical House. We're located at number 6 Bakery Lane. I can't wait to show you all of the great stuff that we carry. Come on inside, let's see. Long days, long shifts, you no longer have to endure comfortable underwear. Designed by nurses, we now offer premium undergarments by Swoop that are unique, fun, comfortable, and functional. The only underwear you'll ever want to wear. Who says high-quality functional products can be stylish and comfortable at the same time?
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Attention home renovators and design lovers, your dream space starts here. The brand new Kohler retail showroom at BAC Group is now open, bringing you up to 35% savings on all Kohler products at U.S. manufacturer suggested retail prices. That means no extra fees, no freight, no wharfage, no duty, no document processing fees, just pure cutting-edge Kohler design at unbeatable value. From sleek kitchen and bathroom faucets, vanities, toilets, to statement sinks, walking tubs, and spa-worthy bathtubs, BAC brings innovation and luxury within reach. Visit the BAC showroom on Mill Creek Road today for style, quality, no surprises. Just color from BAC.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BDC's Loan Guarantee Program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BDC, Bermuda Business starts here.
Join us as we celebrate 5 years and 1,000 plus episodes of community conversations on Bermuda's daily talk show. The Daily Hour Gala takes place on April 26th at LF Wade International Airport. For more information and advance tickets, please send an email to admin@bermudacommunications.com. We look forward to celebrating all that's great about our community with all of you.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. I'm Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lenders, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Without further ado, we've got a very special guest. We are about to welcome Jonathan Howells. He is the CEO of Bermuda Press Holdings, which is the parent company of the Royal Gazette, Bermuda's only daily printed newspaper. Let's give him a warm TDH welcome. Greetings, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. I've got to say, I love the hairline. Kind of share it with you.
There you go. You appreciate it. What's wrong with that guy? I mean, not all of us are going to have a full head of hair at most ages, But I've got to ask you, what's the greatest lie you've ever told?
Oh my! Wow. You're gonna have to give me a minute to think about that one. There's probably been so many.
You know what? I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble, whether it's domestic or legally. So let's keep that on the side.
Yeah, tough one.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't want to do that to you, but no, thank you for making time for us. For those who don't know, right? Just give the audience a bit about your background and what it is that you do.
Yeah, so I mean, Jamal's already said I'm the CEO of Bermuda Press Holdings, the parent company for the Royal Gazette. Most of my job is ensuring that the Royal Gazette keeps its doors open and that we continue to produce a newspaper every day. I have a great team of people who manage so many of the day-to-day logistics, but most people really don't truly appreciate the number of variables that go into making sure that the newspaper press turns over every night, and that we continue to engage with the community in a meaningful way. My background, actually not media, business. So, it's not my first passion, but it is definitely something I believe in, and I've come to grow and to appreciate so much the importance of media within a community, Jamal. It's a pillar of democracy, and without it, I think any country would struggle without a free press, independent media. The work that you guys do every morning, whether it be actually covering news itself, as Teo did with his analysis this morning on the tariffs, or picking up just other headlines that have been on other media outlets and diving into the sort of the opinion side of it. It's crucial to a healthy community, a really good dialogue. And that's why, for example, we have the comments on the website, which, we don't love, we don't hate, it's a tough place to be, right? But covering the news is our primary function, and there's a lot of people every day.
In saying that, an audience, feel free to send any questions that you may have. I know a lot of people, have opinions about journalism, news, and even, the Royal Gazette in particular. But with what you just said, though, speaking of democracy and comments and the like, what do you see from a business perspective? What do you see as the biggest threat to journalism today?
I mean, if you're talking the pure business sense, the dollars and cents side of it, it's going to be the erosion of advertising, or the transition of advertising. If there was $1 million of advertising to spend on the island, you've got competition between other media players like yourselves and us looking for advertisers, but we're also competing against all the social media outlets overseas. So a lot of money is leaving Bermuda. There was an expression in the industry, trading dollars for dimes back in the day. And that was the transition of print advertising to digital advertising, which was so much cheaper. So companies saved money by transitioning to digital advertising, and then budget cuts. So on the financial side, that's probably the biggest threat. On the sort of less obvious one is probably the rise of popularism, simple solutions to complicated problems being put forward, whether it be politically or non-politically, without a true understanding. And so I think there's a really big threat there, where fake news, if you will, or simplified news without a true understanding is a real threat.
I want to go further on both of those points, because you literally, I think we have to emphasize that. But let's start with the popularism, because many believe that traditional media is dead, right? In fact, Elon Musk, right, who owns Twitter X, he's literally convinced millions of people that they are now the media.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how does traditional media respond to that and this idea of fake news and the like?
Yeah, it's a tough place to be. I mean, of course he's going to say traditional media is dead because he's a competitor. I mean, he's looking for those eyeballs to generate money. So, I mean, you're almost spreading fake news. I mean, traditional media is under a lot of pressure. I mean, costs are high, and to the point about what do you import to Bermuda, the biggest import, containers of newsprint to print a newspaper. We bring in recycled newspaper by the container load. And there was an old adage, don't pick a fight with a guy who buys paper by the roll and ink by the barrel. But we bring in a lot of newspaper and ink.
Interesting. Let's go back because again, before it was just competing with other mediums on island, right? Now, as you said, you're competing with social media, digital advertising. I mean, you look at, go on, let's use YouTube for an example, and you've got so many Bermudian companies doing it. And many of these Bermudian companies are like, want Bermudians to spend money in Bermuda, but yet they're sending their money overseas. So using Bermuda Press Holdings, there was a report earlier this year that you announced a loss. How does an organization that's been around for so long and been a constant in the community respond to the ever-changing way that people are spending their advertising dollars? Like what do we do to get people to understand the importance of keeping things local?
We just keep telling the story, how important journalism is in our society. I mean, I think the really important thing is that there's a difference between obviously the medium or the media that you're reading, the way you're consuming the content, and journalism. And I think people sort of put them together. But the reality is the role of a journalist is so important. And they're a trained journalist, I'll say a real journalist, Jamal. I don't mean to insult anyone, but to somebody who's following sort of media guidelines, ethics, media laws, as opposed to someone who's just writing something online.
Right.
And, so that media, that role of journalism isn't changing anytime soon. That's an important part of what we do. It's the way the media's that information is transmitted, if you will, whether it's in print or in digital format. And then when you get into digital, you get the channels. And I think that we're just constantly trying to pivot with different ideas for people who want to support journalism, because buying the Royal Gazette isn't really about buying a newspaper. It's about supporting journalism in the day when you need us. There's a day comes where that headline story is shocking, or that headline story is like is celebrating something in this country. And when we're there, we're there. And when you need us, could you imagine if you went and we weren't there one day? And so it's about, whether it be the Daily Hour, whether it be BBC, whether it be the Royal Gazette, it's about supporting the fact that there's a role in this country. And we're so small sometimes that every day you're not going to see something investigative or really, really critical on the front page of a newspaper in Bermuda. We just don't have the events, the population, but we continue to grind every day, looking to ensure that there's a level of transparency. So it's just a pivot.
Yeah, indeed. Rick Olson says best bang for buck for advertising is Google and YouTube, which is devastating to local media. I actually disagree. I disagree, and I think this is the mindset where we have to kind of change and educate. And the reason I disagree is you spend money with a Google, which is YouTube. There's no guarantee. Here's the challenge. I couldn't tell you the last time I actually watched a full ad up there. So you click off it, right? That's number one. Number two, I don't believe the numbers they give me if I was to spend the advertising. Like, you can tell me anything. That's two. But number three, in Bermuda, when you're selling local advertising, you're not just sharing an ad. You're building a relationship with people. And I think that's what people lose, especially business owners. They lose this sense. It's the social media age we're in, though, Jonathan. The social media age is all about likes, views, clicks, and everything. It's not about relationship building. And advertising was once about building a relationship with a potential consumer or customer. Now, with social media, with Facebook, it's this whole thing about let as many people see it as possible. I had one of our sponsors say to us, and I'll share this publicly, shared it before. I would rather 500 people who align with my brand over 5,000 who don't. And that's how local Bermudian businesses should be looking at it, in my opinion.
Yeah. Bingo, as I'd say, you know.
I see what you did there.
You know, and Teo better watch out for ICE coming to get him. He's talking about Trump on TV, you know.
Exactly,
he might
right?
But
talk about our president.
You know, no, you're dead right. I mean, this is about supporting, right? This is I mean, so many brands in Bermuda are already known and well established. You know, why do they need to advertise is one of the conversations that happens. And the reality is they're showing their good corporate citizenship. They are promoting the great work they do in the community, or they're promoting something new that they're doing, and finding a way to do that with that and supporting a local media outlet is absolutely critical.
Yeah.
As you say, Google doesn't give anything back to Bermuda other than a really good land deal out in Southside
that they got. Let's shift gears, because Bermuda Broadcasting and the Royal Gazette have done some things in recent months, which I've been publicly supportive of, but Bermudians tend not to understand it. Let me give you an example. So there's an Instagram page where it's called basically BDA_history, where they share a lot of Bermuda history. And I've seen Bermudians, oh, this is a great page, this and that. And it reminds me of Magus List, kind of, right? And I'm not taking shots at people, but the reality is Bermudians love something when they don't have to pay for it. So these people, whether it's Magus List or Bermuda History page, that's a lot of time to do what they're doing. But if they put a price on it, all of a sudden, you feel that there's no value, right? The Royal Gazette recently, over the last few months, created something where you have to log in, right? Yeah. Obviously, again, in small local community, advertising dollars are disappearing. Bermuda Broadcasting also, over the last few months, no longer put the news on social media. You have to go onto their website. Again, this is stuff, you know, I'm heading off to Las Vegas today to the National Association of Broadcasting Conference. This is stuff they were telling us 2 years ago when Maya and I first attended. They're like, take your content off of social media, drive people to your websites. That's 101, right? But how do we, in this space, get Bermudians to understand it? Because I've seen the comments where people are like, oh, I can't find BBC News. Well, it's on their website. Well, it was so much easier on Facebook. How is a business that you obviously value supposed to survive and thrive if you want it to come to you in a space that doesn't benefit them? How do we change that?
Well, you've got to pay the staff. I mean, we've got to pay people to collect the news, to curate the content, if you will. And you're so right. The content is the only thing of value. The way you're distributing the content isn't the item of value. It's the content itself. And so, you know, you've got to look for new ways to monetize content. And it's unfortunate, but if sharing it on social media is removing your ability to sell advertising locally on a digital platform, then you're going to have to pull your content off social media. And I don't think there's anything wrong, actually, with driving home quality, reliable places for people to go, that you're not just lambasted, if you will, with third-party commentary or third-party unreliable content. And Facebook's was, even during our election cycle, I probably spent 4 hours a day reporting fake news to Facebook leading into the election. And that's not part of my job, so to speak, but it was just people were trying to use our brand to spread lies.
Right. I remember seeing that too, Jonathan. Audience, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to hop in, because I know a lot of you have a lot of opinions. We have Rhonda Johnson says, the Royal Gazette, in my opinion, is bending towards ripening Bermuda to Trumpism. Not sure what that means, but do you want to respond to that?
We're not Trump supporters. We're not supporters in any way like that. That's not our job. Our job is to report the news.
How hard is it? Because every media platform pretty much gets labeled as either being right, left, or, you know, being favorites. I mean, the Royal Gazette, more than any other medium in Bermuda, has been accused of being a part of the combined opposition. I think the other challenge, and you mentioned earlier, investigative journalism, everyone expects every journalist to be an investigative journalist and provide some sort of stories. How do you keep the balance with the public and continue to say, no, we're not biased. We're not choosing sides. We're just reporting. And no, not every story is going to be investigative journalism. And again, they want this stuff, but no one wants to pay for it, right?
Yeah. I mean, everybody has a bias, right? We all have a small bias somewhere, or large in some cases. But you know, I think if the current premier calls you up and is frustrated with content, and then you look at your relationship with previous premiers from either political party that we have here that have been in power, and they're all complaining at you, then you're probably fairly down the middle.
Okay, fair enough. Audience, any other questions or comments for Jonathan Howes? Bermuda's a small market, right? A very small market, and I think many of us don't understand how small. But Bermuda would represent a small town in most jurisdictions throughout, North America.
Yeah.
In a small market like Bermuda, what's the key to remaining relevant? Because we've seen newspapers come and go. We've seen, VSB disappear. We've seen Bermuda Sun disappear. We've seen Bermuda Recorder. We've seen the Mid-Ocean. Literally, it's really two news outlets. And I'm not being disrespectful to others, but when I say two main news outlets, the ones who employ a lot of people, right? We still do have Trevor, who does a phenomenal job of reporting. We obviously have Ciola does her thing, and then there's Bernews, who does a lot of press releases and so on, and does a lot of live content. But as far as big organizations and the most employed people, it's really Bermuda Broadcasting and Bermuda Press Holdings and the Royal Gazette. What's the key to remaining relevant so that you can keep people employed? Because you're not charities.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's pivoting. And I think it's remaining relevant inside of your community. Mm-hmm. And I think that we don't always do the best job of that. The community is broader than we probably are seen to reach at times. Mm-hmm. There's almost nobody in Bermuda who doesn't look at us at some point. Mm-hmm. It's a question of how often, how frequently, and how do we resonate with them by ensuring that we have content that is of interest and of appeal. I mean, content's beyond news, right? I mean, you know that. So it's making sure that you're relevant to people in their daily lives, beyond the headlines, if you will.
We've got Mark Arthur C. Phillips is asking, Mr. Howes, do you feel having an additional newspaper would be a benefit to the Royal Gazette?
I mean, if they're producing quality content, I mean, I made the joke one day. Someone said, if you want to start up a newspaper, let me know. I'll happily print it for you. You can, the more that press runs, the more it helps us. I don't think it's about the medium. It's about the content at this point. I do think there will come a day where we'll see less and less printed papers and more digital type products continuing. It's a question of how to make those digital products successful financially. And you can do it on a really small scale. But when it comes to a story that takes 6 months, 20 patty requests, hundreds of hours of work to generate, it's really tough for a small outlet to do that.
Yeah. How important is collaboration? Because again, advertising dollars are disappearing. There's so many mediums fighting for that advertising dollar. You've got radio stations that pretty much just entertain. You've got news outlets. You've got people with businesses that are selling advertising on, bikes and stuff. Now it's just a lot out there competing. You have people with events that are seeking sponsorship dollars. How important is collaboration with other mediums like ourselves? I mean, we did something for the election night. How important is that going to be going forward?
Critical. I mean, I'm here with you this morning, right?
That's it.
I think collaboration. It's going to be about efficiency and scale, and ensuring that we're not like there are if the Daily Hours channel is the morning 8 to 10, and that's their audience, and it's about working with them to ensure that audience is getting the best part that they can get from that media outlet, and if that requires our collaboration with you, then why not? What's the damage?
Indeed. Indeed. I love media. I do. My most miserable time in my career was when I was working in tourism. I'm just being very frank.
It is media right now, isn't it?
Right. It's the top story every day, thanks to the RG. But I always tell people, and you mentioned something earlier, and you said not to be disrespectful, but it has to be said. I say on this show very often, I am not a journalist. I respect journalists a bit too much. If I had it my way, like you, my face wouldn't be doing this. I would be in the background on the business side. That's what I enjoy most. That's what I love the most. Due to Teo annoying me, that's how I ended up in this space. And come on, Jay, come on the show. But in saying that, there doesn't seem to be a lot of young people gravitating towards this industry. Jonathan, how do we change that? Because you spoke about community. Like we need to get some young Bermudians into this space, and if we're really to make some inroads and progress as far as community goes, right?
It's not a new problem. It's not a new problem. It's an old problem. And to be a journalist means you're going to have to ask hard questions and put yourself in difficult situations. And a lot of people, I think, find that difficult. Especially in the social era, and then growing up with social pressures in ways that we didn't have as children with Facebook. Facebook, I can't even remember how old I was when I went on Facebook, but I'm getting old. But with the youth, the social pressures and the judgments that are just, I think that the resilience to those judgments is difficult to develop nowadays compared to the past. And journalism is a passion. Thomson Reuters once said you get 2 journalists out of every 80,000, two higher quality journalists out of every 80,000 people. So that means, I'm going to say Bermuda punches well above its weight limit, as it does in so many other areas. We've had some great journalists that Bermuda's developed. Formerly, our former editor Tim Hodgson was an incredible journalist. The journalists are people who they are very skeptical, and they're very they're hard. Like I can have a conversation with a journalist, and I almost have to watch what I say with my own staff in case they take it the wrong way. So it's something that's really difficult to entice young Bermudians in. We have Sekou who joined us, who's been going through the training program, and we constantly are looking for people. If you think you're interested in a career in journalism, reach out. I would be happy to engage with anybody who's a young Bermudian who wants to pursue a career or thinks they might want to pursue a career. We bring in interns in the summertime, and that's really important to us, trying to encourage a younger generation of people getting involved in understanding media and news and hopefully becoming journalists.
Indeed. Question from WKD Lama says, do you think the editor, who the editor is, affects how the public views the Gazette? Also, Sam Strangeways is awesome.
Well, I'm sure Sam will be proud to hear that. Sam gets a lot of criticism and a lot of accolades, so I'm sure she'll appreciate that. Who the editor is an interesting one. I think the Royal Gazette is coming up on a quasi anniversary, if you will, only 200 years. Tainted past. I think when Dexter came on board, we would have seen a shift if the editor from sort of the Bill Jeremy transitions, we would have seen shifts. But the reality is we haven't. I think the political cycles and the need for the Royal Gazette to be the official opposition at times, or to be demonized, if you will, is probably more of the tone of than the editor himself.
It's interesting because many people who don't know, Dexter Smith was the very first guest on the very first episode and really helped launch the Daily Hour. Yeah. But in saying that, I don't know how he does it. I honestly, Dexter Smith has some of the thickest skin I've ever seen in any Bermudian. That's just being real. I don't have the temperament. I don't. I think that people will probably appreciate him long after he's retired and done. But I think that's what we have. And of course, it's almost like what happened with President Trump. Like, people ride with what he says, whether you like him or not. He's going to be a case study one day, because that whole fake news thing, anything that was traditional news became fake to people, right? And now you create this thing where, you're now the news. That's why I'm very delicate. I am not a journalist. You all know what I do. If I see it in the Royal Gazette, I discuss it, right? That's my go-to. I pull it up on the screen most times. I discuss the news. I don't report the news. Taylor and Maya and Simone may put together a story based on something that they've done. But I think people understanding the difference in that is so important. Right now, and I have to talk about this before you go, the podcast era, we haven't mentioned that, right? Literally anyone can just buy a mic and put themselves out and label themselves as a journalist. I don't know if dangerous is the term. Maybe it is. How dangerous is it? Because again, social media is one thing, putting stuff out, but podcasts, people come across more believable because they've invested in, equipment, right? Like, how dangerous is that to, actual journalism?
I think that's a judgment on the reader or the audience. I think that an educated, critically thinking individual is going to listen to something and go, okay, I've heard that. Is there more to this than just what I've heard? AI is creating podcasts frequently now. They're not even generated by people anymore. I think the rise of the ability to disseminate information is probably a better way to describe it. And it is now getting to a point as an audience of the questioning, am I reading something that is from a reliable, known, trusted, independent, reliable source? Or am I just consuming entertainment? Something for media value, like that's not got real media value. And I think that's it, right? I describe news and business as like, we have news, we have opinion, and there are different spectrums, right? The one's at one end, one's at the other. And then you've got community in there, and you've got data along the way. So you kind of got like, news, data, community, opinion, in a sort of a line, and understanding that everything we do is backed up by verification. Now, the challenge is, what's the verification? And people will say, well, it's an anonymous source, and that's where it gets difficult, right? Small community, as you pointed out, Dexter, having to have thick skin, people willing to come forward, willing to share their stories. We probably publish less than half of what we're shared, right? There's so much more always in the cycle, but we can never get to verification or the end of the story, if you will, to tell it.
Indeed. AI, you mentioned it. That's what I wanted to leave off on. Look, people can go on Chat or Copilot, whatever, and really create their newspapers at this point. How do we respond to AI as it relates to traditional media?
Again, it's that verification. I remember once putting in the chat GTP, who owns the Royal Gazette? And it told me that it was owned by a media house, which was the former owner of Bermuda Sun. Randy French was the editor. Jonathan Howes was the accountant. It gave me this whole and so what it was doing was just scouring the internet for any cross-reference points it could find, and then made up a story. And so AI is adding elements to things that aren't real. And when you think about, where does Bermuda's history actually reside? It resides in the archives of our media, whether it be the Sun, the BBC, the Royal Gazette. And if those sites aren't being indexed by AI, or those data points aren't in the AI model, then what you're getting is a blend of anything else that's out there from other jurisdictions. And so you're not going to get local content on AI. And as good as AI is right now, the data sets of Bermuda are incomplete. So it fills in the blanks.
Yeah, my thought is, in local media, like small towns, AI shouldn't impact us as greatly as it would a place like the United States. So I definitely thank you for sharing that. Couple more questions. He's got to go, folks. We can't keep him on.
You tell me when I got to go.
All right. Mark Arthur C. Phillips, he's saying, do you have an outlet or a section in the Daily that reports the news from a young person's perspective?
Yeah, there's a I think it's a youth news, and it's was it Youth Connect that does some content. In the summertime, we had a number of summer students generating content. we've done everything from partnering with schools to do the school newspapers. There's always been community content or youth content from younger people, or people well younger than me anyway.
He says younger than him. Mark Altus Phillips says, with the birth of online media, is it a challenge to report the news in the 21st century?
Yeah. I mean, you probably see it even, Jamal. I mean, the immediacy, the expectation of immediacy is probably the challenge, right? Mm-hmm. A government press release comes out, or a company press release comes out, and people are expecting to know about it right now. Mm-hmm. And so you put the press release up online, but the actual journalism behind that, investigating or making it relevant, it takes time. And so the immediacy is not there. So that's where I think the biggest change has happened is the instantaneousness with the internet and with social media.
Indeed. We're having a gala at the end of the month, and you're going to be a part of the panel. Part of the purpose of the panel is really to engage and educate the audience about the importance of local media. Be yourself, Jasmine Patterson, who's a journalist at Bermuda Broadcast, and we've got Trevor Lindsay, who owns TNN, and he's more instant reporting, like quick, the opposite of what we were just talking about. And then we've got Miss Thang from a radio perspective, which to me, radio is probably taking the biggest hit because, there's so many different options. People listen to podcasts and their own music on their devices and the like. But what are your thoughts on overall local media remaining relevant as a whole versus going global? Because there's benefits to going global, right? There's benefits to it, but keeping people focused locally through all aspects of media, like how do we achieve that?
I think maybe it's a different lens on that. Maybe it's really not up to us. Maybe it's up to the audience. Maybe the audience has to decide what it wants, and they speak with their dollars. Similarly to shopping in Bermuda, if you want to shop online and ship everything in, and not support the local retailers, when the local retailers are gone, are you going to miss them when you need something today and you can't get it today? And I think that's the difference between local and global when it comes to news, right? I think that the local news is the most important thing what we do. It's unique to Bermuda, to our community. Global news is not. Global news is available on hundreds of other outlets. I could fill a newspaper with it every single day, but it's not of relevance because you can get it some other way. So I think that it's really the audience's decision to make, is how important is journalism to them, not the outlet, not the medium that is being delivered on, but the actual value to them of journalism. And I think that that's the conversation that needs to happen. And by the way, I'm super excited to be helping and participating in your gala event. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to sitting there with you and having a drink. Hopefully it's a Friday, because this is a pretty hard way to start a Friday morning.
Saturday night.
Okay, that's even better. That means you got all day Sunday to recover.
Very good. Well, I have a lot more, but you know what? We're going to save some for the gala. But Jonathan, before you head out, just let people know, because you still have people on mediums. Actually, Suzanne said something here. She says, I keep forgetting my password for RG, so I don't log in. Sheesh. I have to keep hunting for it. Let them know how easy the process is, though, because so many people, they still think you got to pay to sign in, and like, just explain why you went towards that process and how easy it is to get their news.
Right. So it's been a long process internally. We've been trying to consolidate platforms and simplify a lot of our work internally to cut costs. And one of the challenges is how we bring all of the engines together with a sign-on. The reality is that we needed better data of audience engagement. We're not selling that data. We're not giving that data away. It's really easy to create an account. It's really easy. It's free. It does not cost you money. All the pop-ups go away. You don't have to pay. I think you have to give me an email address and a password. Maybe the country you're coming from. There might be 4 or 5 fields. I can't even remember. It was so long ago I did it. But that's it. And there's nothing nefarious behind it, if you will. It's really just a way for us to be able to remove some of the backdoors into our software, third-party logins. So Discuss is a good example. Quite shortly, we won't allow Discuss commenting handles. You'll only be able to use a login through the Royal Gazette. And it's really, we're liable for all the content on our site, including the comments, and being able to ban people when they're creating new accounts or because of their libelous comments. Those types of things were a lot of the impetus behind it. And so there's no fee. It's free. Please sign up. We're not doing anything bad.
Yeah, with Pippa, whatever it's called.
Pippa.
Yeah,
Pippa. Yeah, it's fun.
Michael Daniels, he says, are there any opportunities for Bermuda Press Holdings to reach, to expand your reach, to other regions?
I mean, in other regions, there are other outlets. I mean, our reach is Bermudian. So our reach is, 60% of our day is people local, and then the other 40% is overseas, and most of those overseas people are going to be Bermudian. So that's our audience. That's who we are. I don't know how we couldn't print a paper and take it overseas, and so shy of setting up a news entity somewhere else, and then I'm just competing against somebody else.
Yeah, indeed. Jonathan, thank you so much for your time, and it's been an awesome conversation. I have to go prepare to travel. And
where are you heading to?
We're going to Vegas for the National Association Broadcast Conference. So it's going to be a very busy. Oh, it's tiring, but
who's looking after bingo?
Well,
I just have to say it again. Man, I'm sorry.
See, you're like Teo. I thought we were on the same team. Come on.
No, we bond over the hair. Yeah. We tease over the plant. Okay.
Yeah, bingo will be fine. I'm going to water him after we're done here. But thank you so much. Appreciate you making time for us, and we'll definitely be in touch very soon.
Anytime, Jim.
All right. Jonathan Halls, folks, if you appreciated the conversation this morning, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We're going to take our final break. I'll be back in 2 minutes, 54 seconds to wrap it up. Stick with us.
Being from this little island, like yourself, we knew you needed access to reliable shipping. We set up mailboxes so you can skip all the long waits or held up in customs excuses.
With mailboxes, that won't happen. Get your packages in under 48 hours using our dashboard.
Plus, if you're a planner or headerer, our weekly consolidation service might be for you. We hold your packages in Delaware and ship them together to save you big time on shipping fees.
And with our warehouse being in Delaware, that means 0% sales tax. Pretty cool, right, guys?
BAC's new Cola showroom is now open. Throughout April, for every $50 spent, your name will be entered to win great raffle prizes. Come learn from BAC, where luxury meets affordability.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Novazark Feed and Supply has everything you need. From top quality foods to toys and supplies, we've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
Join us as we celebrate 5 years and 1,000 plus episodes of community conversations on Bermuda's daily talk show. The Daily Hour Gala takes place on April 26th at LF Wade International Airport. For more information and advance tickets, please send an email to admin@bermudacommunications.com. We look forward to celebrating all that's great about our community with all of you.
April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month, Children depend on every single caring adult in our community to make sure they are safe from sexual harm. Keeping them safe not just in April, but every day. Whether you're a parent, a guardian, a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, or a caregiver, we ask that you take just 3 hours out of your busy schedule to learn what you can do to make sure the precious children in your life are protected. They are worth it. Join the SCARS certified adults by simply visiting our website to sign up for a free SCARS training session. Learn about online and body safety, how to protect them, and how to respond if they are harmed. This information is vital to their well-being and their future. Because they are children, it is our responsibility, Bermuda, to protect them. Visit scarsbermuda.com and learn what you can do to help the child in your life stay safe.
Alrighty, welcome back. Thanks again to Jonathan Halls from Bermuda Press Holdings for joining us this morning for what I feel, my bias, very important conversation about an industry that I am very passionate about and really and invested in and appreciate. So thanks again to Jonathan. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical House Lindos and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we can do this with you on a daily basis. Folks, whatever platform you're on, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever platform you're on, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share these most important community conversations with your friends, your family, your colleagues, even those folks you don't like. Trust me, they'll get something out of it too. All righty, it's time for the Daily Play brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, it's a global question. It's a things you should know. Folks, this is the most ridiculous question that I picked out of the hat this morning. All right. What color is formed by mixing blue and yellow? My goodness, someone got that fast. Gee, I'm not going to give it to him. All right. Jonathan said it before I even finished. Like, come on. But yes, Stacey Ann Brown, green, Renee Simmons, green, Nicole. I was hoping someone said the wrong answer. Rosalind Famous, green. Everyone said green. Gee, you all are good at this. You're all good at this. I was hoping someone said blue or something. I'm like, no, blue was the one that primary colors used, folks. Come on now. Somebody may have said purple. I don't know, but that was a good one. You all have been awesome. You've been awesome. Just wrap it up real quickly. Ziploc commercial. What's that one? I don't remember that. It's a hint in there. Alrighty, folks, let's wrap it up. I've got to run. We've got to go. We will not be doing a show on Monday, but we will be doing a show Tuesday and Wednesday from Las Vegas. So we aren't going to neglect you too much. But I just want to touch on look, the tariff thing is scary. You know, it's scary. So I'm glad we could have some fun with it with Friday Fun Day. What are some of the things that you will only purchase in Bermuda? But what we all have to realize is we may be forced into making even more purchases in Bermuda. My hope is that local companies don't take advantage of that, knowing that Bermudians pretty much may not be able to afford to ship things, some of the things that were mentioned, and due to the Trump tariffs. As it relates to the conversation with Jonathan Halls, I really hope that all of you are able to make it out to the gala where we'll be having a panel of the importance of local media and the different roles that mediums play as we honor Glenn Blakely for his contribution to the media space as well. But I want Bermudians to understand the importance of it. You know, we kind of latch on to everything in the U.S. and it's not really fair because there's really no true comparison. It's really apples to oranges. When Donald Trump started saying fake news, Bermudians ran with it. And it's like, but what's fake? You're so close to the people who are doing the news for you, right? It's pretty hard for people in Bermuda to actually run with fake news and it be a thing. So I want us to understand the importance of local media, of news journalism, the role that it plays. And it's not just the people who report it or bring it to you, but people in PR, media relations. Those two they're part of journalism. They're part of news. They're part of media. And I'll tell you, any company that has a PR and marketing department has a value on traditional journalism, traditional media and media in general. So it's bigger than what we sometimes make it out to be. As far as this weekend, again, we'll be off to learn how we can do better and make this show everything that you want it to be and more. But we will be back on Tuesday. I have to give you a daily inspiration so that I can go and make sure I pack enough socks. You know, I always forget socks when I'm traveling, folks. I don't know why. Here's a nice quote from Condoleezza Rice. She is a former government official in the United States, and she was the National Security Advisor and first African-American woman to serve as a U.S. Secretary of State. Here's the quote from Ms. Rice. Quote, "People may oppose you, but when they realize you can hurt them, they'll join your side." End quote. Wow. Interesting. I'll leave it at that, folks. We've got to head out, so I'll say this much. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we can do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you on Tuesday. I'm Jamel Hartman, and before we go, I got a funny comment. Shika Arena says, "Bingo is now the official mascot for TDH. We need progress updates. Lean into it, Jamel." All right, I'll share some pictures. Please do make it a great and a safe weekend. We are out. Peace.